Hello and good evening. I'm Leslie Montgomery, one of the co-hosts of our podcast, Straight No Chaser. I'm co-hosting with Lynn Reese and Miss Helen J. Collier. Tonight, I want to lead up a topic that is very near and dear to my heart because it is something that I have experienced in a real way. So, in our first or second episode, I spoke briefly about um, being, I don't know if I said the word a victim of the penal system, but I definitely would stand on that. Um, I did a 25-year sentence in the Washington Correction Center for Women. I was 26 years old when I was incarcerated. I was pregnant with my last child, and I had two young children that I left behind. Um, I want to talk tonight a little bit about maintaining relationships, restoring relationships while being incarcerated, if the relationships can and will be restored, because in some instances some of the relationships that you have had before you become incarcerated cannot be restored. Sad to say, but it's the truth anyhow. I also would like to point out, um, while having done 25 years in prison and just having been released n less than a year ago. I think it's been a little bit over 10 months now that I've been out. Um, that time that I spent away, and it causes one to have to reevaluate a lot of relationships that you once had, the relationships that you are newly forging. Um, and especially with the amount of time that I did. I didn't do a year or 5 years. We're talking about a quarter of a century of one's life. And mind you, I was 26. So when you put it in the grand scheme of things, we're talking about half of my life incarcerated, right? Um, I had, like I said, two young children, and I was pregnant with my last child who is no longer with us. He was taken violently in 2020, but that was also a separate relationship that had to be maintained, had to be fed and watered in order to stay alive. Um, Very sensitive subject and topic for me, but the main thing I want to get across tonight is that when one is taken away from their family or their children, even if you don't have children, we all have family. We all come from someone. So whether you're a single child or you have siblings, we all have parents, right? So
Right.
when we talk about maintaining relationships, the main thing that I want to drill tonight is that whether or not you're on this side of the wire, and for me, that was behind the wall, right? Or you're on this side of the wire, the sibling, the parents, the children. We're all doing this time, but we're all doing it the best way that we know how, and we're all doing it in our own separate way. Um, and that's one thing that I had to come to realize, because there were some relationships, like I said, that uh still to this day that have not been restored, because they were broken down because of the separation and because each individual's doing the time in their own way. You can't tell somebody how to do the time. As a woman who spent 25 years in prison, um, I know that selfishly, myself, I have been there and done it. I've thought, oh, I haven't heard from this person and I ain't got this and they said they was gonna do that. But at the end of the day, if you take time and just sit back and think about it, you have to just understand that those people on the other side of the fence or the wire or the wall, however you want to put it, they're doing the best that they can and they're doing the time the best way they can do it. It may not be and it may not line up with how you think it should line up or the way it should be, but they're doing it to the best of their ability. And so, um, it's just something that I think is important in this day and this age to talk about because um, I believe that it's one out of three people who knows somebody who has been either in jail or in prison. It's getting more common today than, you know, anything, really, if you think about it. I think that you can ask maybe five people, do you know somebody who's been locked up? Or do you know somebody who's been in prison? And probably two or three out of the five people are going to say yes, if they're being honest. So, um, like I said, I just, as a woman who has done the time and now is on the other side, this side that I longed for, this side that I thought about for so long, this side that I dreamt about. Oh, I can't wait to get out. I can't wait to just get to the other side. I now am um, coming to a place where I understand a little bit more. Like, I don't want to put names and be specific on the people, but I can understand how a sibling or a child could say, I didn't have time, or I didn't get around to it, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do that, because I'm now on this side again after 25 years, and a lot has changed in that span of time. And so I now understand a little bit more about life. Life is just taking place. Nothing is time is always going, is moving. Everything is ever changing. So one thing that came up, before we were talking about, um I wanted to speak on, I was pregnant when I got arrested. I was like 4 months pregnant. And this is one of the relationships that I had to maintain and feed and water, was the one with my youngest son, Michael. And having children is hard while you're incarcerated. You have to depend on someone else. That's another relationship to keep that bridge, you know. Nothing is in your control. So you have to feed and water this relationship and keep it healthy in order to continue to have a relationship with my child or my children. And so with that, that was difficult. You talk about just having relationships with your children, trying to do it over the phone and tell them how much you love them and depend on someone to bring them to visits. Wow. When I sit here and I look back and I think about the years, the decades that was put into it, and I mean, I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful for the family members that unselfishly, took time out of their lives to make sure that my relationships were sustained and maintained with my children, with my mother. Um, there's no amount of words that I could say that would express my gratitude, how I feel inside. But yeah, it's really a difficult thing, and it's such a broad topic, and there's so many different things you could speak on. I want to also bring up, like me and Lynn was talking about pre-recording, family doesn't always mean blood relatives, you know. I had some beautiful, absolutely incredible people show up in my life when I was like, I think 6 months pregnant, 5 months pregnant with my youngest son. I know it was God sent, and they are still in my life today. And these people did my entire sentence with me. Now you're talking about a relationship, you're talking about a love, that agape love that Lynn you spoke of last episode, I believe. And it's like you just don't run across people like that every day. But there's so many different relationships that you have to hold on to and like navigate simultaneously. Um, and so yeah. When I think about that particular relationship, it really warms my heart because it's something very special to me. Um, when I think about the relationships with my children, what they were before I left, what they are right now, what I believe they can be in the future, um, by faith. Um, yeah. It's sad at today, but I believe and I have hope that things will get better with one particular child of mine, my grandchildren. There's just so much to be said about it, you know, so much to be said about it. But from my perspective, I would like to say, um, as someone who did a long sentence, who had to grow, um, from a young woman, if you call 26 a young woman, I didn't get out until I was 52. I spent most of my 20s, all of my 30s, all of my 40s, and I got out at 52. Have hope, feed that which you want to live, and starve that which you want to die. There are not always good relationships. You know, you can meet people in prison that will not be a positive impact in your on your life, and you have to make decisions sometimes that are hard. Even when you get out, sometimes you have to be a little selfish. But when I think about it, I just say have hope and just know that, you know, yeah, hmm, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm walking in that light right now. And I have hope and I believe still in the relationships that I have not seen come to a place where I want them to be. But, um, and those that have been lost and broken, I just believe and trust that, that is what God's will is for my life right now. So, yeah, I'll just, open in the table or open up the conversation for anybody, any questions, or you guys want to have anything to say on it, on the topic. Yeah,
Let's say thank you for sharing.
yeah,
I I know that was a lot
yeah.
for you to, navigate and to share, frankly, I'm gonna switch so we can all be seen. There we go.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I know. Do you mind if I read something from your book, just a short passage?
No, I don't mind.
To me, it speaks to not only you having to do the time, but other
Hmm.
you know, how you're talking about navigating these relationships. And then I have a question for Miss Helen.
Mhm.
But I just wanted to read this. Um, it's from your beautiful book, Brown Girls. I hope somebody comes in, sat down, learned something,
Mhm.
makes a comment. Um, just to let you know, because I think this encourages a lot of people. But you say, on February 19th, 2022, as my daughter and I were talking on the phone about my release, which never fails to come up, she shocked me saying, "Mom, I want you, me, and my aunties to sit down together and conversate." This came as a shock to me because over the years of my incarceration, relationships have been broken as well as hearts. My response was, I believe we can do that. However, it has to begin with open-hearted forgiveness.
Mhm.
And I wanted to read that because it stood out to me because not only was your daughter saying that she wanted to, have this relationship and talk about things, but then she was talking about other people in the
Mhm.
family, right,
Mhm.
who were affected by your incarceration. And then you coming back saying, yeah, we can do that, but we got to start with forgiveness.
Mhm.
And those are pieces that a lot of times when people are incarcerated or whatever, you don't think about the hurt behind whatever the action is. Sometimes it's just like, oh, well, this person went to prison and they're out of sight, out of mind.
Mhm.
Um, you're not thinking about how it affects other people, how those relationships, as you say, like can be broken.
Mhm.
And I think in this case, especially like with your, and you write about this in your book too, but like with your brother, and
Mhm.
then your uncle, my dad,
Mhm.
how those
Mhm.
relationships were strengthened
Whew.
through through your incarceration, but it's those kind of stick and stay and
Mhm.
then some fall away,
Mhm.
right? And I know Miss Helen has talked before about the youth that Miss Helen that you worked with. You're talking about
Yeah.
all these young folks, and I remember you saying that some of your coworkers were like, well, they're this and that, or they're bad, or da 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 da, da. And you were like, they weren't always like that. They didn't come here like that.
Mhm.
And so you being an advocate for them, I wonder how many of those girls maintained relationships with like their parents or building a community around them. And even in my case, my daughter being incarcerated and
Mhm.
us having to navigate having her parent from behind bars,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
I remember she said to me, Mommy, thank you for letting me parent, because
Mhm.
sometimes there would be some issues with her daughter, with my granddaughter, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna let you talk to your mom when she comes." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just
Uh-huh.
for her to be like, "Well, thank you for that." I didn't really know that it meant so much, right?
Mm.
And so, like,
Right.
you're working with those youth, and I know that some of those girls had babies and things like that,
Yes,
and
yes.
get discarded, right? Like, oh, she out there, she being fast or whatever, she pregnant, and now she locked up, right? So, Miss Helen, can you speak to that a little bit? Because I just found that to be so interesting when you were talking about, that aspect of,
Well,
you know,
well, especially, well, since we will, especially if we're gonna, while working, even working with the boys, the difference between that, boys had children too. Some of them, had children. They talked about them, and they talked about what they would like to do when they got out to take care of their children, and how they could, parent them. For the girls, it was even more devastating because Some of them didn't even know whether they were going to get their child back
Mm.
from whoever had them, whether it's their parents or whether it was the state itself. Because you got to realize, even if they got out, if they were 14, 15, 16, they were going to have supervision in caring for the child. And
Right.
it was hard for them to navigate when actually they really didn't understand what it was to be a parent, because
Right. Right.
their parents were 14 and 15. Their parents, a lot of times, even young adults, parenting doesn't come with a book, really.
Mm.
I mean, they have all kind of things they teach you, but parenting doesn't come with a book. It comes with love, care, because a lot of you're doing things you hope is going to help. And can you imagine a young child, a girl, 14, 15 years old, even 16, 17, who haven't been really parented themselves,
Mm.
or are having parents who parented them but was very strict and hard, and and allowed no mistakes.
Mm.
I told you you need to not to have sex. I told you you weren't supposed to do it. But did you tell me why? Did you tell me what I could do to prevent? I gotta go. I A lot of parents don't understand. Once the child leaves home to go to school, it's more than big book learning that they
Mm.
learn there.
Yeah,
Ain't
And
that the truth?
sure.
once they leave out that door, you're handing them over to the world. And if they haven't had enough counseling, and a lot of times it can't be in harsh, strict, you bet not. It has to be in loving, protective way where they understand what you're trying to get across to them. And even then, sometimes they need to have an open door where they can come back and talk and tell you what's on their mind and what's hurting them. Don't you think so?
I do. Yeah.
I think, I mean,
I'm the youngest of my mom's kids, and I remember so many times just coming home from basketball practice, and she'd be like, "What are you taking a shower for? What are you doing this?" Blah, blah, blah. Like, I just came from basketball practice. Like, I'm not doing nothing. You know what I mean? But it's when your parents are really strict and hard on you, then you start thinking, or you start being rebellious. You know?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, you don't even know what you don't even know really what not to do, because they're not telling you I don't want you to do this because this will happen to
Mm-hmm.
you, and
Mm-hmm.
that will happen to you, and I'm trying to keep you from being hurt. Who is this person? Are you sure that you're still a child?
Yeah.
You're getting to know. That's what you would want them to be teaching them, but they're just saying, girl, you better not do that. I know you ain't doing nothing nasty now. I know you. And so, and so
Yeah.
the whole, what's nasty?
Mm,
What is it about you? What are you telling me? Instead of saying nasty, as to say this is normal. This you're a
right.
human being. This happens to. But this the seriousness of it, of the problems that it can cause you, that it will not cause the boy. So and even with the young males who the society has allowed all escape
Mm,
for most of the things, it's always the girls. Why does she do this? It like it's she can have sex by herself. The
mm.
baby can be produced without a male with no responsibility. That's not teaching. So that's why a lot of girls and boys get into trouble. Don't you ladies think so?
yeah, and then I think about when they're in there, like maintaining those relationships, right? Because a lot of times, um, I see like men or boys go to jail or prison, and they come out and it's a barbecue and a
Mm,
celebration and
mm.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Right.
oh, hoopla. of a relationship, right? It's like,
Right.
Mhm.
oh yeah, he bad or he's the man and blah blah blah, and
Yep.
uh, women that I've seen going to prison, it just seems harder from all the
Mm.
relationships that my daughter has formed while she's been in there, right? So
Hmm.
many of those ladies, there's mother-daughter pairs that are in there,
Yeah.
um, three generations of mother-daughter grandparents
Right.
that are in
Right.
there. And being in there and not even maintaining those relationships.
Yeah.
Oh, her mom's in here, she's in here, but they don't speak,
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
right? Then,
Right.
and then it's the relationships with their kids or other family members. And I know, Leslie, when you were in there, I'm thinking that
Mm-hmm.
I'm supporting you
Mm-hmm.
because I'm supporting Michael.
Right.
You know what?
Yeah.
It didn't really dawn on me, I think maybe until your last year. Like, sometimes you would call and we
Mm-hmm.
would talk if I was over my parents' house or something
Right.
like that. But I didn't you know, write to you on a regular basis and stuff. It just wasn't, I guess kind of a out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
But here's this child and I'm supporting him. And every
Right.
time I look at him, because he look exactly like you, every time I see him, I see you, right?
Right.
But it wasn't that, oh, maybe she might need just a
Mhm.
letter from me
Yeah.
or whatever until you were about to get out. Think,
But
right?
you know what? Better late than never.
No, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
for people who have family members or friends who are
Mhm.
incarcerated,
Yeah.
um, to reach out because
Yeah.
they're already going through enough,
Mm-hmm.
and to feel like they're forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it, I can speak to this from, again, my daughter, or like when my brother was incarcerated, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're going through enough and they
Yeah.
need to know that they're not discarded, that they're
Right.
not forgotten,
Yeah.
you know?
Uh, if I might jump in here, I
Yes,
to
ma'am.
be the devil advocate since I've known it on both sides. th- when I first started working, the county, the kids they'd have 10 minutes one at least once a week to, and then some well-meaning politicians decide that who was over the making the decision decide that parents should be paying for this,
Mm.
and the kids would call their parents and get upset with them if they say they talk to them 10 minutes for when, but well the child doesn't realize, or if he does realize, that is secondary to him or her, that the cost, some of these parents are on welfare.
Mm.
Some of these parents just didn't have the they would get lose their phones because the cost was so extreme.
Yeah.
So um to just be fair, to talk about it, not only the parents, not only the neighbors, not only the people that, but the system itself was set up in a way for them to feel rejected, and does that you kind of understand, and that's sort of some of the things that we realized too, that these kids need to talk to their parents. When they were allowing them to talk to their parents, it was much better. When they start charging them, because it costs a lot of money
Mm.
to
I know it.
if you're on the phone, and if you are one parent, or even if you're two parent, if you got a job that you're barely making the ends meet, so society itself plays a part in throwing the kids away. That's what I think it's going
I
to.
would like to say two things.
Hmm.
Two things that first, Lynn, you said about your daughter saying, "Thank you, mommy, for allowing me to parent." You know, I think and like I said, this is such a broad topic. We could talk about so many things about relationships, maintaining, restoring, uh, reevaluating them and reestablishing them. So I want to not let this episode slip by without giving your mother and your father credit, especially your mother. I will say and speak to my uncle momentarily. But as far as your mom, like, never, you know, taking away the the privilege for me to be a mother to my son, because Lynn's mom and dad, took my son in and raised him as they he was, their own, because my own mother had my two oldest children when I got arrested and was incarcerated. But always being able to be an active parent and having it, just being, even if you are not there physically,
Hmm.
being made to feel like you are included in some decisions, and like you said, here, I'm gonna let you talk to your mama. I'm gonna go ahead and give you the phone to your mama. Like those little things, they may seem like little things, but they're huge things, especially when you are on that side of the wire. So
Right.
I want to say that, and just give, credit to your mom and dad for always, you know, keeping that bridge, always making sure. And I mean, from the very day that my son was born to, the end of his life, that I always had a relationship with him, not through the phone only, but physical. Anything that was going on, I always was able to have that connection with my son and be a mother and parent from that side of the wire. Speaking to your dad, I cannot let this episode go by without, because I did say this in my book, can't maybe recite it verbatim, but I know that your dad and my brother played the silent roles. You know, my uncle is very quiet man. He's a man of very few words, you know what I mean? But when he's there for you, he's there for you. And just having spent like 5 hours with him this evening alone, him and Lynn's mom, like I just sat over there from about 1 to 5 o'clock, 12 in this afternoon to about 5 o'clock this evening with them. And you know, um, he's just quiet, but his support is his support. And if you have it, you have it. And if he, says that he is going to do something, he does it. And so, I spoke about that in my book, the men who played those roles, and my uncle and my brother definitely were those men. But I say this to my very dear friends, Mary and Jim, and I know they won't mind me speaking their names. They are awesome people of God. They are awesome just individuals. And I just, as we're talking and I'm thinking about our conversation, I had to think about the times when Mary came from California all the way up here to Seattle to come visit me, but made sure, and we're talking about relationships, right? And the maintenance of them, the connection of them, how she would make sure to reach out to my mother who was getting up in age and, you know, stop driving at a certain time, to go to her home, pick her up, bring her up, would split the visits. You know what I mean?
Hmm. I
Split
know.
the visits. You're like, I'm gonna come in for an hour and a half, and then I'm gonna let your mom visit with you, and I'm gonna wait in the car, and I'm gonna drive her back home, and then I'm gonna go back where I got, those are the kind of relationships that, you know, I was able to like forge and just feed. And those are the kind of relationships while I was incarcerated that make me want to be a better woman, that make me want to reach back and be that for someone else, because I know how important it is. And I did too much time, so I've seen too many women, um, like who don't have support, who don't have family, who don't get visits, who have nothing. I'm talking
Mm,
about nothing.
nothing. That's what. Yeah.
Nothing. And I'm
Right.
talking about nothing. And I come from a good family now. I mean, I've been wayward and done went off the wire and whatnot, but I got a good family, period. But I'm talking about women who don't have nothing,
And
no support. And so it's like you have to, as human beings, I think we're made in the image of God, right? We're made to be in relation. We're not made to be alone. Period. We are made to be in relation and to love one another and things like that. And it's not always easy. It's easier said than done. But the relationships that God has shown me and blessed me with through a whole 25 years of incarceration has really made me a 53-year-old woman to know that it is more important to give than to receive and to give back. And,
may
yeah.
I ask you? May I ask you? Do you the women who had nothing, and
Hmm.
they had to fight for their survival too.
Yeah.
But do you think the ones who did have some kind of connectedness with the outside, fared better and succeeded better
Hmm.
in their incarceration than those who just was alone?
I think
That is a good, really
um
good question.
it is a very good question. And having done as much time as I did, I could tell you, um, excuse me, I can think back and hmm. I could think back and and because I am and me and my friend Candace Rush, I'm gonna say her name. She said we academic scholars, period. Like I don't care what we've been through and where we at right now, Leslie. We academic scholars. I think it's all up to the individual. I can't say that, this person, because I've seen so many women who had family support, money, packages, everything any fundraiser that came up and came about, oh, they had it all. They was buying this and buying that. And I ain't want for nothing and didn't go without nothing for the whole time I was in prison. However, I wasn't no kid in prison who come from a rich family either,
Right.
you know? So
Mhm.
I say some of them they so used to just having it, they didn't care. And they didn't look to trying to go to school and take advantage of all these different opportunities that we had. And then some who didn't have, they wanted it more because
Good.
they were
Hey.
like, this is what's going to help me when I get out of here, even if they have 50 or 60 years. I have a friend right now. I have one person
Hmm.
that has my phone number, that I write, that calls me, and that I have vowed to be to her what Mary and Jim Manning have been to me.
I
Period.
love it. I love it. Yes.
And there are other people that I cared about and that I would love to stay in contact with, but there is one person that I know, as long as I got breath in my body, I'm gonna do that for her.
Good. Good. And that helped. That really makes a difference.
And she's one of them women who you just don't have no family, nobody does like,
Yes.
yeah,
You're an amazing woman. You've been through a lot, but I mean, you're one of those women, when Maya Angelou said, and still I rise.
yeah. Thank
I
you, Miss
think of you.
Donna. Thank
Yeah.
you,
Yeah, I think of you at that on that.
Yeah, I
thank
think
you.
about well, what it's done for me is made me more aware of the support
Mm-hmm.
that's needed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Seeing the beauty and being able to spend some time with Mary and Jim is hilarious. He is hilarious.
He really is.
He is. And he be over to the side and just saying
His
little things.
sidebar.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. But but just being more aware, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, of how much support folks really need, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, even with, with my daughter being there, how many of her friends called just to be like, hey, Lola, I was just checking on you,
Yeah.
or because they don't have a relationship with their mother,
Mm.
or
Mm-hmm.
they don't have
Right.
relationship with
Yeah.
their families. And, you know, one lady in particular, she's like a worry wart,
Mm.
right? So she's like, since Prentice moved, I don't have, contact with her. I just want to make sure that she's okay, blah, blah, blah. And I'm talking to her like, what's going on with you? That she gonna be okay. My daughter's gonna be okay. What's going on with you? How are you
Right.
doing?
Right.
And I think that if she had somebody,
Mm.
she wouldn't feel so hopeless,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's what she tells me all the time. Well, I got time. And she never talks about the other side,
Mm.
getting out, getting there. I'm not
Mm.
sure. I don't think that she's a lifer, but
Right.
it's just she been in and out, in and
Some
out.
people might have like this is what they call de facto, and it's when your sentence is far beyond what they say you will live. So she may not have life, but she may have like 60, 70 years or 99 years. Like I've been in prison with all of those people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like yeah, you can become hopeless, but I'm here to tell everybody who's listening, I have seen so many lifers be released from prison, the prison that I was in. And I'm telling you, and I, as a woman of God, and I believe in God. I say it's only God. Like He can turn things around, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I have seen so many women be released from prison who have life sentences. I have seen them being released when I've been fighting for the whole time I was in prison, appeal after appeal, and I'm doing this and paid lawyers, and I'm finna get out, and my family's hopes is high, and then they end up saying, oh no, it ain't gonna happen. But I see lifers, people who have life sentences get out. So I say again, have hope, not just in the relationship, but have hope because things can things can change and you just don't know. You know what I mean? So she may
Yeah.
not have life, but she might have so much time that she's like, why am I going to talk about getting out? Like, I'm not going to probably get out. Like, I'm going to die in here. There's so many people like that. So I just, you know, it's,
And those who actually got out was probably shocked or couldn't
oh,
figure it
yes.
out.
Oh,
And,
yes.
and I attribute that to it's like if you have someone who a teacher who's really good at teaching
Yeah.
and they want the best for all their children,
Mhm.
all the students that they have. Then
Right.
you have a teacher who's there to get paid and
Right.
have no interest. So when you come, it all
Yeah.
depends on who you come before, what type of person
Yeah.
they are,
Yeah.
and how they see the
Yeah.
inmates.
Been there and done that too.
Yeah, yeah. If
Done
they don't
seen
care
it.
for, if they don't have a heart
Hmm.
for just you as a human being, and
Yeah.
all they see you as is a number.
A
That's
number.
yeah,
Yep.
that's the way they treat your crime.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's
that's
Yeah.
like
what
my friend.
reminds me of telling. That's another relationship that you have to try to navigate. Well, speaking about relationships, right? Is your
Uh-huh.
relationship with the staff, the guard,
Yes. Oh
Yes.
my.
You can
because
lose some friendships.
yeah, you don't think of
Yeah.
that as being a relationship, but it is. I mean,
It's
It
a
really
relationship.
is.
have,
Yeah.
you have to navigate because if I say the wrong thing or look the wrong way
Yep.
at this one, then that can mean more time for me.
Yeah.
or
Because
There
there's a
you
lot
go.
of staff who like to retaliate. There's just
Just
like
tell
Miss
it like
Helen
it is. You
said,
saying
if
that's
they
right.
come and they're a teacher, they come in with the right heart and oh, I want to pour into, because it's a lot of professors that give up their time, their experience, their knowledge, and they come into them prison systems and they want to teach because they believe in it. They
Right.
believe in that each one teach one, and they believe in giving what they have vowed their life to give, and that is to educate, right? Then you got
Right.
some that come and it's just a paycheck. And there's a lot of
That's it.
staff like that. It's like they treat you like crap, they talk to you
I,
crazy, they test you, they try to get you to react. And then if you do, oh, you can best believe they're gonna retaliate. And
and you
so
right.
you have to,
You're
it's
so
like
right.
a chess game.
And who's playing the game?
Yep, yep. It's a
And who
chess
got
game, you
yeah,
know?
it sure is.
It's a cold system. It really is. It
The
really
whole
is. It
system.
really is.
Yeah, so
And
you have to you're a victim, really,
yeah,
and it all depends on when you see those movies about inmates fighting or guards or something going
yeah.
taking them, all that's a
Oh
part
my
of the
God.
system. Yeah, all
Yeah,
of that's a part.
you have no idea, and I
Oh, I
don't
do.
even want to get, yeah, I know you do.
I
I don't
do.
even want to, but it's like, especially in, I don't know how it is in a men's prison, but I'll tell you what, it's just something else. It's
It
something
is.
else, and you only can understand to its fullest if you have walked that walk. And
Yes.
unfortunately, I have walked that walk for a quarter of a century. But fortunately, I walked it with the Holy Spirit and God on my side.
Hey,
And um and yes, period, point, and then the blank.
and
So
there are those that's in the penal system that understand
yeah,
and have a heart
yeah.
and really want to see the
Yeah.
inmates
And
do good.
there's some good people in there who really
Right.
want to see you do well and get out and prosper and do good things. Um
But they got to go. But what happened to them is they have to be confronted by those who don't, and usually those who don't are in the highest position.
I
So,
want I want to tell you something. I don't know if I shared this with you, Lynn, or not, but before I got out, I started a reentry program, right? And so
mhm,
I had to really, this was something that has never been done before, ever. So I was the first woman in the state of Washington, in the country, to ever do this. Wrote up a proposal, presented it with being asked to by the superintendent to if I could have reentry, what would that look like to me? Because the way I was sentenced, all my time was to be done be there. No work release, no GR, nothing. Every last day of my 25-year sentence would be done behind the walls. So I did it. They accepted it. So it put me in a position that I had to create these relationships with the superintendent and lieutenants and associate superintendents and all these the people who ran the prison.
right,
And
right,
so everybody, my peers, okay, how are you doing this? Oh my God, how did this happen? Whoa, whoa.
yeah,
But you know what? It happened.
all that favor.
God is good. And so every single month I would go out on an outing. This is what we called it. But it was me, gradual reentry, acclimation, and exposure to give me the opportunity to see like what society is like moving. I want to be a moving piece. And it's just like I haven't been out in a long time. So I had these relationships with
uh-huh.
all these oh my God. Oh my God. It was crazy. But when I think about it right now and I look back and I'm like, God, you something else. Right? Because I'm talking about,
Favor, favor,
yes,
favor.
yes.
Yes.
And going to all these different places. I open up a bank account. I'm going to all these different restaurants. Oh my God, I'm in civilian clothes, no handcuffs, no nothing. But these are the relationships that I had to create and build and
Hmm.
trust. And they could trust me because there wasn't no way in the God's green earth I was going to do nothing to jeopardize my release date, right?
Right.
I wouldn't do that anyway. But the relationships, and they gave me the opportunity to see them in a different light and them to see me in a different light. It gave them a blueprint and allowed them to know it's possible.
Yes.
Change is
Yes.
possible.
Yes.
This is possible. Um, we could do this, and we could do it with many other people. I'm the face DOC in Washington.
Mm.
And it's like it just is something. It amazes me when I think about it because I can't believe sometimes like God put me in that position to do something like that. But he did. And oh my God. It's just like when I think about it, I'm like, wow, you really did. I wrote a little bit about that in my book too. Like,
Good.
yeah.
A million brown girls.
Yeah. But all them people, them big people, I was speaking in front of all these people from all out the country, people coming
Mhm.
from Norway to talk to me, people coming from California to talk to me, building relationships,
See
you know.
there? It can be
But
done.
yeah, making them know though that just because you're incarcerated, like one isolated incident does not define who I am, you know.
Hmm. That's
And
right. There you
and
go.
yeah, and
That's
that's
not
what
have
I
that's not
wanted to put out
convey. Yeah, convey. Let them know.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, anybody can make a mistake.
Because
Anybody
like
can
you said,
fall.
you ain't nothing but a number to them.
That's it. Many
And
of
I
them.
bet you when they say
Many.
Leslie Montgomery, oh, ain't no number gonna pop up in their head.
Right. They're gonna know that face.
Yeah,
See, they're gonna know that face. And those are administrators who want to see a human being, want to see a
exactly.
person and not a number.
Mm-hmm.
But there are too many that the number is all that matters.
Just
And that's
back and
so
forth, back
unfortunate.
and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So, you know, yeah. It's a
It-
whole lot we could discuss talking about these
yeah.
relationships, but like I said, have hope and just,
I think your biggest
know that it's not
relationship, your biggest relationship, I think, is the
what.
relationship between you and God,
Yeah, you're right
right?
about that.
Because you speak so much in your book about
Mm-hmm.
having that relationship with God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And having hope and having faith and all that. But
Yeah.
you, not everyone is a believer. We talk
Mm-hmm.
about that so much on
Yep.
the podcast,
Yep.
right? But for you, having that relationship, having that hope in something higher than yourself
Mm-hmm.
gave you the courage to step out and do the things, like step out on
Yeah.
faith, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and I
Yeah.
know probably since you've been out, I mean, you can speak to this or Miss Helen, but uh when you have to stand 10 toes
Mm-hmm.
down and
Mm-hmm.
have faith and nobody else believes, that you're doing a thing and then you come out on top, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you lose people who
Mm-hmm.
couldn't rise as high as you did.
I'm serious.
Mm-hmm.
I am serious. And you know
Mm-hmm.
what? It's that's their season. It's time to lose them.
Right. Yeah.
Then yeah, that
Yeah.
season with them is over.
Yeah.
They played that part in your life, and whatever it was that they were supposed to bring to it,
Yeah.
that's finished. And don't, because even if you push it, when it's over, it's gonna end.
Yeah.
And so especially if it's not conducive
Yeah.
to who you know you are as a
Mm-hmm.
person and who they want you to be to satisfy them. People who are harsh and difficult, and they still want to be seen as a
Mm-hmm.
good person, or
Mm-hmm.
there's good in them. They don't want to be seen as ugly. So they have to have people around them who will co-sign that
Mm-hmm.
their behavior is okay.
Right.
And when
Right. Right.
you say I know that this is wrong, then other people will, the other inmates will look at you and say, now, now you can if you go to that person, they'll listen to you. They don't mean to hurt you. But if you go to that one,
Yeah.
mm-mm, they don't care. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do know that. Yeah. It's so beautiful, girl. I'm telling you, you just gave us a much wealth of information. You just sunshine. You
Yeah.
know,
Thank you.
I'm proud to have sit here and have us going through this thing
Yeah.
about life, and that's what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Because that's
Pure
what it
life,
is. Life. Yeah.
life. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I'm glad to have you sharing this because, we had our childcare for 31 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we dealt with a lot of children that
Mm-hmm.
had incarcerated parents and stuff like
Mm.
that. And
Mm-hmm.
even still then, not thinking about all the different relationships that they had to navigate. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and when you know better, you do better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's good to hear your perspective and the things that you had to navigate because definitely you don't look like what you've been through, right?
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
then when I think about you, Miss Helen, and all the girls that you worked with, you don't really think about the lives that they have to navigate either. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Being a child amongst other troubled children
Mm.
or other children who are going through whatever. It's a lot
Yeah.
behind bars. I mean, this could be a whole 4 hour special.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yes,
Right.
saying?
yes,
So
it
much.
could
I
be.
mean, we talked about relationships with family, relationships
Mm-hmm.
particularly with our children, relationships navigating on the inside with who
Mm-hmm.
you gonna link up with and or not,
Inmates
like who you gonna
Yeah.
do, right?
establish. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
know,
those were over your life too.
right.
And the or nots
And that's
is, in my opinion, the most important part because it is so important to make good decisions in terms of relationships when you're incarcerated. Because, like Miss Helen, I think you said, you know, the people, like, it basically boils down to, you got your little in crew and the people who is popular, either you want to be protected or you want to be like covered, because or either you want to stand on your own. And I come from a strong line of
There
strong,
you go.
and I'm a standalone type of individual. And it's like, no, I'm gonna make my own decisions, and if it's not right, it's not right, and I'm not finna go along to get along. And it's
Oh,
um
talk about it, girl.
yeah.
for real. And so
Yeah,
I got respect because of that. Because
there
I'm
you
not
go.
that one. And
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna treat somebody this way because they treating you that way. Like, no, you know what I mean? That's just not how I was raised. And
I
so
don't.
um
Yes.
yeah. And so it's just really, I say, important, the or nots. Cause it's easy to go along.
To get along.
It's really, really hard to stand alone.
Talk to me,
And
sister.
sometimes it's really hard to be like, just stand alone. I'm by myself. I'm gonna stand 10 toes.
No,
I'm just
not
do this
going
by
along with the
myself.
group.
Yeah, I might not have five, six, eight, 10 people around me, but I bet you one thing, you know what I mean?
They know. They
I'm
know
gonna
who
be
you
all
are.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, hey,
they know.
they
And
know
That's
who
the
you
so,
thing,
are.
like you
yeah,
mentioned, people, the protection or the
yeah,
falling in line or, with that. And that's
yeah.
one thing that I was telling my daughter very early.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to take these people home with you.
Exactly.
Nobody knows you. And you can reinvent, if you was in something, you can reinvent yourself
Right.
wherever you choose to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
you know what I mean? You don't have
Yeah.
to answer to these people. But I tell you what, don't be messing with nobody's money or their property because
Okay.
that is their currency. And that's a whole
Okay.
another relationship that you're gonna have to navigate.
Yep.
You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? But it's just a lot
It
navigating
is. It is. Um,
relationships from behind bars. I mean, look at all the directions that we've gone in, right?
yeah.
Right.
It's just so much, and it's not
And
just
we've hit somebody's family.
Right.
Someone's
Definitely.
family, yeah.
When
And
I
maybe
think about one thing, I think about my son Michael. And we had a wonderful, beautiful relationship, and like any parent with their children, of course, you have little whatever, and boy, you better do this, or you know, they get older and they think they growing and they know something, they don't know nothing. But I think about him, and and I think about how abruptly his life came to an end, and I think that there's so many relationships that we still have the opportunity to salvage and feed and water, and I think this, I say, you just cannot take time for granted. I would rather waste money than time, because
Yeah.
um any day, because if I could have him back, all 19 years of him, and double down or triple down on all of the things that we did together, and all of the time and the love that I tried to pour into him, I would do it 10 times over, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like the relationships that we do have, whether with our children, our parents, um, our siblings, whoever, friends, people who mean something to us. A relationship is any two or more people involved in a communicative type of, interaction, right? If you love somebody and care about them, keep trying, keep hope alive. um
Yes.
Give all you can give, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day we can only be responsible for our actions, and so it don't matter what the next person do. What did you do?
There you go. What did you do? How did
Yeah,
you try to save them?
yeah.
For
And
a
I
life?
know in my life I have some relationships that I could continue to still keep fighting for, so before time runs out.
There you go. And
Yeah,
that's what and that's the beauty of living. That's the beauty of life.
yeah,
Caring about someone other than yourself.
yeah.
Realizing that you can have $1 trillion, but
Right.
if no one loved you,
Mm.
what I mean, what is it when you're all alone and
Right.
you're wondering they you might get them to you might buy what you feel
Yeah.
is love, but the genuine
Ooh,
fine.
ooh, ooh, that
It
gave me
doesn't come. It
chills.
doesn't come with money. That's right. It doesn't come with
Yeah,
money. It comes with absolutely something that comes from the divine Savior
yeah,
that binds us together, poor,
mhm,
rich, whatever,
yeah,
and that's so important. So
mm,
I don't envy the trillionaire. I
right,
sure love some of his money, but I don't envy him because you know what? We all going through this world with one road,
hmm,
so I'm proud to have done what I could do for the
right,
girls, for the incarcerated children that was in
mm,
my care, and hope that at least one or two of them grew up to make
mm,
something positive about themselves, because when you are when you're in that line of profession, even if you see a child on the street, that
mm,
child has to speak to you first
hmm,
because it's confidentiality. And a lot of times they
mm,
may run up to me. Now, if they say something, then I can say something. But the most important thing for me was when the young girl said, she said, me and my mother read your rules every day. And
I
so,
know that's right.
yeah, so thank you for
Yeah,
bringing that to us and sharing, because that's not easy,
yeah.
but it shows your strength and
Thank
belief in
you,
yourself. I really appreciate it.
thank you. Yeah.
It is what it is, but we're
Yeah,
gonna keep on doing the best that we can do
yeah,
and giving it
yeah,
all we can give.
yeah. And thank you for just, your part in it too, and Lynn as well. And Um, yeah, I know I've been a auntie to many, many of young women in that place.
and I have auntie women and girls and boys
Mm-hmm.
who wanted to be flowers.
Yeah. So
So
that's all we can do is hope
that's
that what we did, the work we did, the words we spoke, settled
impacted.
on the good soil of their
Ye-
hearts.
Yes, and it impacted their lives in some
Yeah.
way where they could maybe reach out to someone else.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because you never know how things are gonna be and what they're gonna, how they're gonna, how they're gonna end up.
Yeah. It's a gnat.
Isn't
Get out of here. Shoot.
it? So hopefully that our viewers have
Yeah.
gotten something from what we have shared with them. And if they have comments, I
Mm-hmm.
want to please like and give make comments and feel free to share
Yeah.
because when we hear from you, this is another subject that we can
Yeah.
bring to view. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we are definitely straight
Mm.
with no chasers.
No chasers.
No chasers, because you got to be authentic. You got to be real. And don't bring it. I don't need to even discuss it if I'm not going to be authentic in my telling.
Right.
Isn't
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
It's something that the kids would pass to their parents too. All the families that taking kids down to the office to have visits with their parents and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. When they were released from prison or jail or whatever. Um, yeah, all those things. Being auntie to those, and then being a counselor and a co-counselor and you know
Yeah, that's true.
something.
Yeah.
Just it's something to see all those lives that are navigated because of one person's
Yeah.
absence, right?
Right,
I mean, I appreciate you guys and the work that you did and the work that you continue to do, and I hope that somebody learned something or something, it gave somebody the courage, or maybe even just reminded someone to think about someone, a
Mm.
loved one or a friend, in a way to even just start a letter campaign, or write one letter to let somebody know that you're thinking of them, or to have open arms when they come out and
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Mm-hmm. Oh,
hmm
forgiveness.
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And don't and look at you. You have to look at them like you look at yourself, and any part can be broken, but it's the mending of it that matters.
Mm.
And stepping forth and saying, "My crime is not me.
Yeah.
It is something that I did, but that doesn't define who I am as a person."
Yep. Yep. It's like Pastor Donnie McClurkin. He has a sermon that is one of my favorite sermons he preached, and it's called The Attachments. And it's like, as we go through life, certain things might be attachments, and they may be on us, whether it's addiction, it's lying, whatever, incarceration, whatever it is, but those attachments are not who we are at
Right.
the core of our being.
Yes.
Attachments can always be
Always be
removed.
moved. Yes, indeed. I,
Okay.
I'm writing about that now.
Yeah. Always. So,
Always. Yeah.
yeah, have to remind ourselves sometimes of those things. Yeah,
Always have to
as we're
remind yourself.
struggling through things. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, with that, ladies, I thank you all for your last words, your first words, all the words. I appreciate you. I appreciate your insights as always. And so with that, we will see y'all next time. Give yourselves a big old hug. I love me.
Okay.
Talk to y'all later.